Hey guys, Trouble1701 here, and today we are going to be talking about if you could find 5 episodes from the 60s, and only 5 episodes. I mean, there's more out there that could be recovered later. It's not a these and never anymore. But if you could find 5, which 5 episodes would you pick to recover? This is kind of combining the list we talked about last week. Last week we had a video where we talked about which 5 Hartnell stories we would save, or not stories, episodes, which 5 Hartnell episodes we would save if we could. And then we had a video talking about which 5 Troughton episodes we would save if we could. Today I'm going to make it even harder. Today we're going to look at the 60s as a whole, and we're going to narrow that list down further from what was essentially 10 episodes to 5 episodes. So if you could only find 5 episodes from all of the 60s that were missing, which 5 would you pick and why? So would you go more Hartnell, more Troughton, closer to an even split? You can't quite do an even split. So I would like to know what you would pick, and we're going to talk about the ones that I would pick. And I know Flyattractor is looking at the thumbnail for this video right now going, ah! Another one of those videos that makes him put on his thinking cap. So the ones I would pick, I think number 1 is you have to pick the 10th Planet episode 4. This isn't necessarily the one I would want the most. I am more of a Troughton fan than a Hartnell fan, but I think you need this one for its historical significance. Plus, 10th Planet is a pretty good story, especially the first 2 episodes. Episode 3 stalls a bit with Hartnell not in it. But episode 4, as good as the animated version is, the animation's great. The way the camera angles work's a little wonky, so it would be good to have it back just because I think it would be a better viewing experience. But definitely for its historical significance being, you know, the end of the first Cyberman story, and of course the first Doctor's final episode, and having the first regeneration. I think that's one you just gotta have. More than any other missing episode, I think historically, for historical significance, this is the one that needs to be recovered more than any of the others. So that's definitely number 1 on the list. Number 2 on the list, for a similar reason, is Power of the Daleks episode 1, because I really would like to be able to see this first episode of Troughton's and watching him get into the role. Now, of course, a little bit of the very beginning of this episode, the footage does exist, but it's recorded, you know, like off of the TVs, like somebody's, whatever the equivalent of the times, home video recording. You know, somebody basically aiming a camera at the screen and shooting it, which is still nice that we have that in some form, but I would prefer to have the actual episode so it would look better quality, and plus to have the whole episode. I'd forgotten just how much actually happens in that first episode of Power of the Daleks. I was actually watching the special edition animated version with my friend Alexa the other day, because she's seen the 2016 version, but not the 2020 version. And we were watching that, and I'd forgotten just how far episode 1 goes, all the way until the Doctor gets inside the Dalek ship, notices one of the Daleks is missing, and sees that Dalek out of its shell crawl under a crack. That's actually quite a bit that goes on in that episode, and I would love to be able to have it so we would see not only the Doctor getting used to his new body, but, you know, the Doctor impersonating the Examiner and meeting all of the guest cast, him meeting Lesterson, him sneaking into the TARDIS thing and realizing the TARDIS, the Dalek ship, and realizing the Daleks, one of them's missing. There's really a lot that goes on in that first episode, so I'd really like to have it for that. Plus, it would give us a really good idea just of what kind of story Power really was in its original form. You know, we could actually see a whole episode of it and kind of extrapolate from that. Now, I only have 3 left, and this becomes tricky for me, because I would want if I could, I would want to bring back Moonbase and Invasion. I really like both of these stories, but they have, between them, 4 episodes missing, and I only have 3 left. So I can only complete one and partially complete the other. And I really went back and forth on this, but not for too long, because Invasion is objectively the better story, I think. I do feel like Invasion is just objectively a better story, but I slightly prefer Moonbase better, which a lot of that is just down to Troughton's performance. I really love Troughton in this, and the way he acts and moves in the 2 surviving episodes. He just seems... I mean, Troughton's always great. He is always amazing. But he is just like super duper, Kryptonian amazing in this one. Just watching his body language, his facial expressions. God, that ending to Cliffhanger 2 is so good, and a lot of that's because he sells it. And so I think I have a preference for Moonbase just because he's so good in it. But that being said, since I would be doing this with the other fans in mind, not just for myself, but what I think would be good for the fandom, I think I would pick episode 1 and 4 of Invasion and Complete Invasion, since it is objectively the better story. It's such a good story. It's basically a pre-Pertwee story. It's a Pertwee story without Pertwee, before Pertwee. It really is the blueprint for the Third Doctor era. And we have the Brigadier as the Brigadier for the first time. We have the introduction of Sergeant Benton. It's a really nice Cyberman story. I love that Cyberman design. It's really, really good. I love the human villain in it with Vaughn. It's so good. And I really would like just to be able to enjoy it from start to finish in live action. That would be really, really nice. And then with my 1 episode, I think I would bring back Moonbase episode 3. I went back and forth between 1 and 3, but I think I'd prefer to have 3. I think I would just really like to be able to pick up from that cliffhanger for 2 and see how it plays out in live action. Plus, the animation for Moonbase is so good. It is my favorite animation they've done so far. So I think I could handle, just episode 1 being an animation. Even it is a slightly rough when they're walking out in space at the beginning. Other than that, though, it's really good. And then once you get 1 out of the way, you've got live action for 2, 3, and 4. I think that would be phenomenal. Again, I really like the Moonbase. So just to have at least 1 of those episodes back, so we'd have 3/4 of the story complete, would be really, really great for me. So those are my 5, if I could pick 5 from the 60s. I want to know what you think of my decision and my reasoning, and I would like to know what you think and why you feel the way you do. So comment down below and let me know what the 5 episodes you would pick and why you would pick them. Other things to do: click the like button, click the subscribe button, click the bell for notifications. The channel's been growing pretty rapidly lately. I really, really like that. We are at, I think, 542 subscribers as I record this. Thank you to all of the new subscribers and all of the old subscribers as well. If you're interested in helping out, I also have a Patreon if you like what I do and want to contribute to what I do, as I do live in the States and I import all of these, which with the shipping these days is a little pricey. There is a link to my Patreon down in the description below. My entry-level tier is only $2 a month. And anyone who joins in the month of October gets free access to things usually reserved just for higher tier levels, like access to videos I've been posting. I've been ranking the doctors. That's a patron exclusive video series. 4 out of the 5 videos have been put up as I record this. So if you're interested in how I would rank the doctors, you can check that out for just $2. And of course, if I do any polls or anything like that, and anyone who joins at any tier level at any time gets a free video request if there's something you want me to talk about. Most importantly though, thank you for watching.